Dispatchers, this is your favorite freight dispatch trainer, Antoine West. I wanted to come on live. I've been having something on my heart that I want to talk to you about. If you're interested in becoming a freight dispatcher, if you're interested in living the life of your dreams and making passive income, this video is for you. I want to talk about a little bit about my story and why I decided to start my freight dispatch business, and how you can start your freight dispatching business also with no experience, and how you can use the internet and social media to live the life of your dreams. So for me, it's bigger than freight dispatching. It's bigger than trucking. What I do is bigger than me being a freight dispatching trainer. The reason I do what I do is to bring happiness, fulfillment, passive income, location freedom, more time with your family. My goal for being on the internet, for being on social media, my goal for running my Freight Dispatcher Bootcamp is more than just to train people. My goal for what I do is to create a transformation in your life. And I would suggest, if you're an aspiring freight dispatcher, don't only have a goal of being a freight dispatcher. That's not going to be enough. How you actually get over the market is by having a much higher purpose on your mind. And for me, I have a much higher purpose on my mind than freight dispatching, than training people, than the trucking industry, much higher purpose. And I wanted to make this live video. I was thinking about recording the video and putting it out there on the internet, but I believe I can speak more from my heart when I'm live instead of recording a video. So I want to make this video for anyone who is thinking about starting a freight dispatch business. I believe in this day and age, in 2025, we lost track of the benefit and how you can use social media and you can use the internet to live the life of your dreams. For me, everything I do is about taking that dream that my potential customers have out there, that they have in their mind, no matter who you are, where you're at in life. My ultimate goal, what I want to do, is take those thoughts, that dream that you have in mind, the dream life that you want to live, and I want to help you produce it into physical reality. That is my purpose. Way over freight dispatching, way over trucking. But I like to use freight dispatching and trucking to help you to be able to do that. So when I first realized that you could do this, it was too great for me to hold that information in to myself. So that's why I like to come online. That's why I like to come on social media, and I like to give away all the information that I possibly can. So in this day and age, with social media, with the internet, that is free marketing. What we should be trying to do, we should think of a low-cost business idea. And for me, I always wanted to be a business owner, and freight dispatching is just the business that I ran up on, that was a low-cost business that you can make a high revenue potential in. So with the internet, and I'll just use freight dispatching as an example, you want to start a business where you don't have to spend a lot of money to start. You really want to look for businesses that this is the only thing you need to start is your cell phone, right? And when I first started getting these iPhones and paying $1,000 for phones, I'm thinking, I am not about to be spending $1,000 for phones and not making any money off of them, right? So as I said, you want to start businesses that you pretty much already have all the equipment to start, right? Especially if you're like me. When I first started, I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't have $5,000, $10,000 to invest in a business. So you want to find a business that you really already have all the equipment to start. And you want to do like I did. I'll tell you exactly how I made it to this level. What I did is I started to learn how to build a successful trucking business, right? You won't make it if you're just thinking about freight dispatching. You need to already know how to build a successful trucking business. And then you want to get on social media for free, and you want to start giving advice. This could be in any business. For me, it just happened to be freight dispatching. It happened to be trucking. So you want to get on social media and you want to start giving advice to your potential customers, free information, value, and then using the analytics. The law of attraction manifests through the analytics. We all seen it. Whatever you're thinking about, whatever you're searching for, you're going to start seeing that information come up on the analytics. So you don't want to be the person that's only spending all day scrolling through your cell phone, wasting time, right? You want to be the person that's giving out value so you can attract cash flow. So where we're at in this day and age, you can start off with really no money and you can build a business and end up having a lot of money. So what you want to do is you want to give out information for free and attract leads into your business. And you want to keep the idea, you want to keep your higher self on your mind, the person that you want to become. You want to see your business as you want it to be. You want to already see your life changing and living that life that you have in mind. And then you want to use social media and give out information for free. And the law of attraction manifests through the analytics. So you're going to start attracting people who need that value and who are willing to pay you money. And what I would say in business these days, in a business like a freight dispatch business, you want to give out value for free. And then you want to see if you can attract people into your business. That's the first thing, because if you can't attract people in your business, if nobody wants to listen to what you have to say, then you really don't have a business. In freight dispatching, so many people think about load board access, a dispatch agreement, all that. You can have all of that, and still never start your business, right? So the most important thing is to be able to get attention. Because if you can keep people's attention, there's going to be a certain amount of people that's willing to pay you cash flow. So you want to attract leads, get on sales calls, and then start signing up drivers to your freight dispatching business. And just like for me, what can happen for you is as I did that and as I increased the value that I was giving out on social media, owner operators started to sign up with my business. And then from there, you want to start generating income, right? And remember, at first, you're going to do this for free. You're just going to come. Social media is free for all of us. That is the beauty. This is one of my main points of this video, because I think a lot of people have lost track of this. The beauty about social media is not scrolling on there, just listening to the funny stuff that don't mean anything, that don't get you and your family anywhere. For me, that's not the goal of social media. My goal of social media is to manifest my higher self through the analytics. And then people get value from me believing in myself, seeing myself as a bigger person, a bigger business person within my own mind, and then giving out that belief about myself on social media. And the great thing about social media is as you believe in yourself more and you learn more about a specific industries, you learn more about being a good freight dispatcher, or you learn more about how to run a trucking business, and you give out that information for free on social media, that's actually the cash flow. That's how we are making money these days. And a main point of why I wanted to come on live, because I'm hearing so many things about the job market, right? And I know the job market is going down. We got AI, we have automations. Jobs do not want to keep paying people when they can use AI and automations, and it's cheaper than paying an actual person. So I hear so much about the job market these days, how it's no jobs, prices are going up, jobs aren't paying the same anymore. And that's part of my purpose, to be able to educate people about this and give you the information so you can maneuver yourself in the right way, right? More and more jobs are going away, but it's creating the creator economy. You can just believe in yourself and get on social media and give out that information, give out the belief about yourself, and people are going to start paying you cash flow. So what you want to do is get on social media, give out that information for free. People are going to become interested in what you have to say. And as you give out more information for free, the analytics are going to attract people to you. And this is the whole point. The internet, social media allows us to make passive income these days. And then another thing, if you're not making passive income these days, it's going to get harder and harder and harder. It's not going to get easier. Like I tell the people in my Freight Dispatcher Bootcamp, because consciousness is moving forward. The old ideas of working until retirement, working for someone else, having to go into a job and work, listen to a boss, that's becoming obsolete. And people have to realize that. And as you realize that, that's becoming obsolete. And what's becoming more profound is just being able to take the idea about yourself and get on social media from wherever you're at, from your home, from your office, from vacation, and get on video, start making posts and give out value for free. And what will happen from there, you will start attracting drivers to sign up with you, and they will start paying you money. And then what you want to do, you want to give yourself a problem, like we do in the Freight Dispatcher Bootcamp. As soon as people come into my Freight Dispatcher Bootcamp, my main goal is to create a major problem in your business. And that because for every problem, you have to come up with a solution. So the problem that I want to create in your business, I want too many leads flowing into your business than you actually need. That's going to create a huge problem because you're going to be too busy to dispatch all those leads by yourself. And that needs to happen very early on in your business, because that's going to allow you to hire dispatchers to work for you. And that's the point of social media, is that whatever business that you have, you want to attract more leads or more customers than you actually need. And you want your business to be a passive income business from very early on. You don't need to go 2, 3 months, 6 months, 2 years and still be working in your business. You know, it's too easy these days. It's like I said, consciousness is moving forward, meaning there's better ideas that have been manifested in the world for you to make money. So you want too many drivers coming into your dispatch business than you need. And you need this to happen in about 2 or 3 weeks. I'm not talking about waiting forever. You need this to happen very quickly. And as you get too many drivers coming into your business than you need, that problem, just like it did for me, it forced me to think of a solution. And the solution was to hire dispatchers to work for me. So that way, using social media, you can reverse engineer the plan. That's what social media is about. You need to reverse engineer the plan. You need to see yourself and your family and your business as you want to be. And then you need to think of a plan and reverse engineer it. Think, how can I manifest that into my life? So as you get too many drivers than you need and you start hiring dispatchers to work for you, then you're going to be able to make passive income. And the great thing about doing this and using social media, you want the amount of your passive income, you want it to start matching the amount of your monthly expenses. You want the passive income coming in that you don't actually have to work for all the time, the money that you can make in your sleep. You want that to start matching your monthly expenses. And in my Freight Dispatcher Bootcamp, that's my #1 goal. I want that to happen as quickly as possible. As quickly as possible. And what I'm doing in the bootcamp is I'm making sure every single person that comes into the bootcamp, I want that time that it takes your passive income to match your monthly expenses. I want it to get shorter and shorter and shorter. And it's always going to get shorter. I'm always going to make sure I'm decreasing that time as much as possible. So as we move forward, as consciousness moves forward, and I get more people to sign up for my Freight Dispatcher Bootcamp, I want to see it's taking them less time and it's becoming more efficient for their passive income to match their monthly expenses. I'm talking about building wealth, right? Because if you always have to work for your money, it's going to use too much of your energy, right? It's better ideas in the world these days than working, 40 plus hours, working 2 and 3 jobs. And that's why people are out there working 40 plus hours and working 2 and 3 jobs right now, because that way of thinking is kind of outdated, right? It's better ideas. So if you hang on to that old way of thinking, it's just going to become harder and harder and harder for you. This is what I realized when I first started my freight dispatch business about 8 years ago. I started to sit back and think and seeing the way the economy is going and seeing how prices were going up and jobs weren't paying as much. And I started to feel the effects. That decreases your energy and you start to feel a certain way, right? And that's why I do what I do, because since I believe I have the right ideas to create a different life, I want to be able to give that to other people. And that was 8 years ago when I started my business. So now, the state of the economy now, I just feel like I got to keep pressing harder and harder to help more people out. So with any business, with any online business, that's the beauty of an online business, is that you can get online and you can attract leads. 10, 20, well, not 10 years ago, I started my business about 10 years ago, but 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, we didn't have social media. We didn't have this opportunity. So it wasn't as easy for someone with no money to start a business and start marketing that business. You definitely couldn't market that business for free. You had to already have some money to be able to market that business. But these days, everyone has a cell phone and everyone has access to the internet, to social media. So you want to start marketing your business for free and attracting leads, get that passive income to equal your monthly expenses. So if your monthly expenses is $5,000 per month, any business that you start, if you start a freight dispatching business, in the beginning, your number one goal as the business owner, because this will affect your energy. If your expenses, monthly expenses is $5,000 per month, your goal should be to get the amount of passive income you're bringing in to equal $5,000 a month as quickly as possible. Because if you don't, it's just going to keep draining your energy. So you want to get up to $5,000 per month passively as quickly as possible. So now this way, all your monthly expenses, your rent or your mortgage or your car payment or whatever bills you have, you attracted enough leads. That's why you reverse engineer the plan. You notice in my videos, or another thing I would do if I were you, go to my website. I dropped the link in the description below, but just read the information in my website, because even on my website, I'm giving away maybe like hidden value, right? So on my website, I even talk about leads, sales calls, driver signups, and revenue, because that's reverse engineering the plan. Because if your monthly expenses is $5,000 per month, you need to think about, well, how many leads do I need to get on? How many sales calls with drivers do I need to get on? And how many drivers do I need to sign up to be able to make $5,000 per month in my business? So you just think of how much money you need per month, and then you reverse engineer the plan. You reverse the steps to make all that manifest, right? So then once your monthly expenses, or once your passive income is equal to your monthly expenses, if that's $5,000 per month, once that happens, what you want to do is then you want to really get on the gas and increase leads, so the amount of money that you have coming in exceeds. You want it exceeding $5,000 per month. So then if your expenses is $5,000 per month, you want that monthly passive income to be $10,000. So you want to be able to hire a freight dispatcher to work for you, so you're no longer working in your business, but you're working on your business. And you want that passive income to maybe double the amount. And this is what started happening to me. This is what started to change my life, because my amount of passive income started to double my monthly expenses. So then if my monthly expenses was $5,000, now I'm making $10,000 and I'm not having to work for my money. And that's my main purpose of teaching people to start freight dispatching businesses. I want your amount of passive income you got coming into your life to exceed your monthly expenses. And then if you can do what I did from there, and this is just basically how you build wealth, because from there, what you want to do, you got more money coming into your life than you need. That's most of our problems. We don't have enough money coming into our lives to keep up with our expenses. But you want more money. You want 2, 3, 10x time the money coming into your life than you actually need. And then that's going to give you additional money to reinvest into other things, cryptocurrency, stocks, real estate, whatever it is. And then you want that passive income to start bringing a lot more wealth. And this is why I do it, because it changes the way you feel within yourself, right? Like I said, my purpose of doing any of this or making any of the videos I ever made, it's not just to teach people freight dispatching, or not just so I can call myself a freight dispatching trainer. I want to create a transformation within yourself that changes the trajectory of your life. So you never ever feel the same again in your life. And then for your customers, for your owner operators, I hope to give you the advice to increase the revenue in your owner operators business. So basically they can get more leads. Every business is first of all, you're in the lead generation business, right? So many people fail in freight dispatching because they're thinking about a dispatch agreement or load board access. They're not thinking about the number one thing every single business is. The same reasons why so many owner operators fail is the same exact reason why so many dispatchers fail. And that's because the dispatcher or the owner operator aren't thinking lead generation. For the owner operator, the leads are the possibilities of high paying loads. Owner operators need to think of every idea possible to bring in leads. Possible high paying loads are leads for owner operators. And as owner operators increase their leads, increase the opportunities to book high paying loads. And for you as a freight dispatcher, that's what your job is to do, to increase the amount of leads coming into the owner operator's business. Just how I just explained about freight dispatchers, owner operators businesses works the same way. What owner operators need right now, they need more leads coming into their business so they can get more higher paying loads on their trailer to manifest an increased amount of cash flow into their business. But they have to reverse engineer the plan, just like freight dispatchers need to do. And then once you as a freight dispatcher, you help owner operators to bring in more leads or more opportunities for higher paying loads. Once you do that, you're going to increase the amount of cash flow coming into their business. And then they're going to be able to get out of the truck, right? And hire a driver to drive that truck. And once they do that, you keep helping them to increase the leads because, like I said, reverse engineering it by increasing the opportunities for higher paying loads. This could be networking with more brokers, networking with more shippers. And you need to do this on a consistent basis. And that's how you're going to always be able to increase the revenue of an owner operator's trucking business. From there, they hire a driver to drive that first truck. So now this gets them out of the truck. This is the problem with trucking because owner operators are spending too long in the truck. And what's going on as they spend longer in the truck, for one, the truck is breaking down. That truck is having more maintenance issues and the owner operator is breaking down because they get tired of driving. They get tired of doing the job. But in any business, you cannot stay in the same position forever. Owner operator cannot start a trucking business, then 5 years later, 10 years later, 15 years later, they're still an owner operator, right? With one truck that's constantly having an increased number of maintenance issues. And as I said before, prices are going up. The price for repair, the price for parts are going up. So no wonder so many owner operators are failing because basically the business manifestation is breaking down because the truck's breaking down because that's just normal. And it's normal for people to get tired of doing the same thing over and over and over. So the owner operators' energy is decreasing. So what we need to do as freight dispatchers is get those leads in to increase their profit so we can hurry up and they can stop being an owner operator. You don't want to be an owner operator for 5, 10, 20 years, right? You want to move on to something different, a fleet manager, right? So you want to help them increase that profit. And then after they get a driver in their first truck, you want to keep increasing that profit so they can buy a second truck and a third truck. Now the business is not stagnant. The business is being built, right? We're manifesting like a larger business with more energy, right? But if you keep trying to do this, that's just the way consciousness works. If you keep trying to do the same thing forever, if your business stays stagnant or in the same position forever, it's gonna break down. This could be me as a freight dispatch trainer. If I keep training the same way forever, no, that gets old because the world is moving forward and you have to add more value to the business. So that's my main goal for you as a freight dispatcher, to be able to increase the amount of money coming into the owner operator's business so they can actually scale their business. And as they scale their business, Then they're going to have money, just like I said in the beginning, just like for you as the freight dispatcher, owner operators need so much cash flow coming into the business to be able to scale and purchase multiple different trucks. And then from there, when they have too much money coming into the business than they need, they can reinvest into stocks, crypto, real estate, other investments. Any business that starts, you cannot stay the same, and you need more money coming into the business than the business actually needs, so you can reinvest. And reinvesting helps to improve that business. And another thing, the problem, the issue with trucking, so many people think the issue is the FMCSA or what the brokers are doing or the government needs to change something. No business works that way. It's only one thing that will ever change the trucking industry. And what changes the trucking industry is adding spirit to the physical trucking industry. And what I mean is going within yourself, us going within ourselves and thinking, how can I create a bigger and better trucking business? Going in our minds and thinking of those ideas and adding those ideas to the industry. That's the only savior. If we don't do that, the trucking industry will never, ever be saved. The broker transparency or the broker saying how much money they're getting from the loads, that's not going to change the trucking industry. It's not going to be one single thing that happens or any change like that happens and then it magically changes the industry. Like, oh, all owner operators are making more money now and the trucking industry is so great. That's not the way it works. The way it works is thinking of ideas to create a bigger and better trucking industry and then manifesting those ideas into the industry. What I believe is happening in business, we're thinking about so many other things that don't even matter. Software programs, we're complaining isn't going to get us anywhere. So what I'm doing and what I see improving trucking businesses inside my Freight Dispatcher Bootcamp is what I do is I just teach dispatchers all the right ideas that need to be implemented into a trucking business. And another reason why so many freight dispatchers fail, because just like me, at one time, I was a new business owner. So many new business owners are trying to start freight dispatching businesses and they're forgetting like the number one rule of business. And to me, the number one rule of business is I would never start a business copying the market. I would never think I'm going to have a freight dispatch business just by getting a load board access, a freight dispatch agreement, and then looking online and trying to copy all that stuff and then trying to produce the same type of business. That does not work. How you produce a business and how you make a lot of cash flow from the very beginning is by looking at the market as it is now, going within yourself and asking, how can I produce a bigger and better business than what's already in the market? And that's any business that you start. So you go within your thoughts and you think of ideas to create a bigger business than what has already been made manifest. And then you take those ideas and basically you use faith and works. Faith and works. You go within yourself, think of more faith, bigger and better idea, and then you work that into the market, and then you won't be struggling. That's why so many people struggle to start freight dispatching businesses, because they're trying to copy the market. Nobody's going to be interested in your business if you're copying what's already out there, because you're blending in with the market. If you haven't read the book Blue Ocean Strategy, that's a great book to read. What's going on in trucking businesses and dispatching businesses? They're stuck in the shark-infested red ocean, as the book says. Freight dispatchers and new owner operators that come into the business, they're thinking along the same lines as everybody else. And then when they manifest the same issues in their business, they think, oh, it's the brokers. Oh, it's the government. Never, we got to go within ourselves, right? It's about what we do. Don't put responsibility on nothing else but yourself. So truck drivers, freight dispatchers, what we want to do is just think of a bigger and better idea than what's already in the market. And then you enter the market with that idea. So basically any business that I start, I'm already over the market before I ever start my business, because I go within myself and I think of a bigger and better idea that's already much better than what's already out there in the market. And then I lead with that. And another thing, any business that I started, when I started my freight dispatch business, I come up with an idea. I go to the end and I see my business as I want it to be. Already see it bigger and better than anything out there. And as I'm starting my business, I'm working my way. Like we say, I'm working my way back home. I'm working my way to the end, to where I already see in my mind. And this, like I tell people in the Dispatcher Bootcamp, this is real business. We're not even talking real business these days. We are wasting time, and it's time to stop it, because what that's doing is hurting people's families, and I'm getting tired of it, right? So I just felt the need to come on live and get straight to the point and say what it is. It's hurting people's families, because if you just start a business like everybody else and then expect to make money, it's going to hurt your business. It's going to hurt your family. You're not going to be able to generate revenue. So as a business owner, I feel it's very important to start calling this out so people can start making more revenue, because I do realize prices are going up. Jobs are not hiring like they were. You know, people are getting laid off. We don't have raises like we once did. So all that stuff is over. It's a wrap. We got to go with, and it's easier. It's easier for us just to think of ideas on our own, and then just be able to grab our cell phone or grab a camera and start giving out those ideas on social media, right? Just like owner operators, they will not be able to generate revenue only working off the load boards. And a lot of dispatchers make owner operators trucking businesses fail, because what happens is dispatchers come in just thinking like the market, like all the rest of the dispatchers are already thinking, and then they manifest those same exact ideas into an owner operator's trucking business. And then we wonder why the business failed, because you're just doing the same thing that everybody else is doing in the market. And in any market, most businesses fail. It don't matter what business that you're doing, most people fail, but the ones that's going to survive are the ones that's manifesting higher value into the market. And by manifesting higher value into the market, you extract people from the market. So another thing, even when you market your business, you don't want to market from the industry or from the world. You want to market from spirit. You want to market with a higher idea, how you see that idea in your mind, and then you will attract customers, because the words you use aren't the same. Most people, the words that they use to market their business is going to be just like the market. The majority of the market uses to market their business, and then you're not going to stand out. You're not going to get people's attention, because you're just saying the same thing. And that's what happens with so many freight dispatchers. You know, dispatchers start dispatching businesses and they say, hey, I have the highest paying loads, 24/7 dispatch service. Like, none of that means nothing. What you got to do, you really got to know how to create a successful trucking business already. And then when you market your business, you market from that standpoint. So you need to go to the end and already know everything it takes to create a successful trucking business, and then speak about that on video, on social media, and give out that value, give out those ideas. And as you're speaking about that, people are going to know, oh yeah, you know, this guy, or this lady, she has higher value, or she knows something. She isn't saying the same thing everyone else is saying. No. So another thing too is that owner operators are looking for something within freight dispatchers that they don't know they're looking for. And freight dispatchers don't know owner operators are looking for this also. Really, owner operators are looking for you as a freight dispatcher to know how to build a successful trucking business, right? Building a successful trucking business comes with much more than knowing how to book loads. You know, if you just had to know how to book loads to build a successful trucking business, everybody would be successful, right? It's plenty of people that know how to book loads. It's so many other factors. And that's another thing too. You cannot start a freight dispatching business and just think about booking loads and think you're going to run a successful freight dispatching business, right? Because it takes a lot of other factors to get your customer to become successful. Just like me, I cannot think I'm just going to teach people how to dispatch and then they're going to have a successful trucking business. I need to talk about I need to build your confidence. get you to work smarter, not harder, get you to work faster. I need to teach you the right ideas to get, leads in from the beginning to get you oversubscribed with truck drivers so you can hire a dispatcher to work for you because you're the CEO. So what happens in a lot of dispatching businesses, why so many people fail, even after getting their first 2 or 3 drivers, because they start dispatching those drivers, and working with those drivers decreases the energy of the freight dispatcher because they're busy working with those drivers and all the problems that come up. And then they stop marketing, right? And like I said, it's all a manifestation. You got to reverse engineer the plan. It's marketing and getting leads in. That's top priority. Lead generation is top priority because you need to continue marketing your business to get leads in to be able to sign up more drivers and generate more revenue. So if you sign up a couple of drivers and then start burning your energy on those drivers that the only reason they came in is because you marketed your business and you got leads in. So what a lot of great dispatchers do is they break the top of the pipeline, which is lead generation, which is marketing. And then once the top of that pipeline gets broken, and then you're working with your drivers, and then you have let's say you have 4 drivers and you have 1 driver leave. So now you're down to 75% of the drivers that you used to have. And then, maybe not too much of a worry. Hey, I still got 3 drivers. And then let's say another one leaves. And mind you, you're not marketing at this time because you're so focused on that. And say another one leaves. Now that cuts your drivers down 50%, which will cut your revenue down 50%. And then what happens from there, it starts to drain your energy because you're like, oh, shoot, because you don't got the same cash flow. What helps us to keep our energy up in business is the cash flow, because that cash flow is energy and it keeps you motivated and wanting to do more. And I encourage successful owners of freight dispatching companies and successful trucking business owners. What I encourage you to do is, if you're like me, you already became successful in a business. What we need to start doing and where the business world needs to start getting back to is people who already know the game plan, who already know how to get there. We need to go back and we need to start calling out everything that could make a business fail. Like me, what I'm trying to do is I'm going back and I'm calling out every single detail that could cause a freight dispatching business to fail. And I know step by step, like how this business manifests, right? So I can already kind of predict the way a certain business is going. So we, as business owners, those of us that's already successful, we need to go back and start implementing solutions. Just like how I said, I've seen so many freight dispatchers start to get drivers and even fail after that because they're not increasing their pipeline. They're so busy dispatching the drivers that they're dealing with. So now that's why in the Freight Dispatcher Bootcamp, I teach how to outsource the work and hire a dispatcher to work for you very early on in your business. Because even me as a trainer, I have trained people that started to get a couple of trucks and still fail. And that bothers me because, of course, I see them happy, the first couple of weeks, and then they get too busy dispatching their drivers, start to lose drivers, they don't market, and then that's decreasing the cash flow coming into your business, and it's going to affect you and it's going to affect your family. So it's up to me to start calling this out so it doesn't continue to happen to as many people. So that's about all I had to say today, but I just wanted to put out there that you got to start a business with much higher value. You cannot copy the market. If you start, that's where people mess up in the beginning because they start the business just like the market is, and that's not enough energy. You're not putting enough energy into the market. See, people don't put enough energy into the market, and then they expect the market to return energy to them or to return money to them. But if you start with a higher amount of energy than the market already is, then you're just going to get a lot of energy from the market returning to you. And that's what you want to do in the very beginning. But if anybody has any questions, make sure you drop them down in the comments. And if you want to get started very quickly and create a transformation in your life from day one, make sure you sign up for my Freight Dispatcher Bootcamp. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.